first of all, the whole idea of meditation, if you read the Old Testament in the Psalms, very often David asks God to accept his meditations. And right throughout the Old Testament, people refer to meditation. And also in the New Testament, they refer to meditation. And of course, when you study the Buddhist scriptures, Hindu scriptures, all kinds of scriptures, they always refer to meditation. And then, of course, you come to the New Age scenery, and there's thousands of different kinds of meditation being offered. But one thing you have to know, that's not all the same. Just because the people use the word meditation, it doesn't mean that they all mean exactly the same thing. Not at all. A lot of the New Age technique of meditation is simply just to make you more money, being more famous, able to perform your job better, have better relationships, maybe physically improve yourself, which they classify all that, and most of all relaxation. They put meditation with the idea of sitting in a bathtub or at the sauna. It's just another form of relaxation. This is typical. 99% of the so-called meditation in New Age is to do with relaxation. After you've been stressed out, had a fight in the pub, you went home, so decided to relax you, so you do meditation. Joke, but it is actually true. So we have to clarify, first of all, that number one, not everybody which called meditation is the meditation, the type of meditation we understand. Obviously, when you study the yogis, the life of the great yogis, the Hindu yogis, Buddhist yogis, Tibetan yogis, the Chinese Taoist mystics, and all those, they refer to meditation. Well, obviously, by the word meditation, they didn't understand the technique of relaxation sitting in the bathtub, okay? They meant completely something else. So you have to clarify your mind. The word meditation is really a vast thing, and not everything is spiritual, which people call meditation. And nowadays, they don't understand the word. So we clarify, first of all, that there is differences between what people call meditation and what we understand as meditation, and what the great spiritual traditions understand as meditation, okay? Whether you look at the Tibetan system, the Buddhist, Hindu Buddhist system, the Hindu yoga systems, many yoga systems, the Taoist systems, and Christian mysticism, Muslim Sufism, Zen, Japanese Zen, by meditation they meant going up to the highest possible level of human development. It had nothing to do with the idea of relaxation or making yourself rich or famous, or ladies reducing the waist a little bit, 14 kilos or something. That's not what they meant by meditation. And today they have meditation courses just to make your physical body better and all that. As I said, that's not the origin idea of meditation. It's never have been and never will be. But the West is degenerating the idea of meditation like anything else. Right, so we come back to that all the ancients from the Old Testament times, the Old Testament prophets, the New Testament times, and the last 2,000 years and 6,000 years before, all the great spiritual traditions, they understood by the word meditation, seeking the absolute, the highest possible level of being, knowing, and the highest possible objective purpose of life. That was the idea of meditation. And of course, naturally, the different techniques and processes evolved according to their national background, their point of evolution, their environment. Many factors influences how they meditate. For instance, in the Old Testament times, the prophets just used to go out in the desert. They had no teachers, and they just called upon the name of God. Maybe Adonai or Elohim, whatever, El Shaddai, many Hebrew names of God. And they just kept calling on it, first physically, until God responded. That's why when you read the Psalms of David, he many times says, I called out upon God and he responded, or he heard my call. That was one of the sort of what we call active technique of meditation, that you call down physically in the desert, surrounded by the scorpions. No wonder why you're calling out for God, you know. And in those days there was also wild lions and all kinds of snakes and everything else. You would be calling out for God too. When you have all the scorpions surrounding you, try to sit on your rock in the blazing sun, 50 degree, you would be calling out for God, for help. But anyhow, apart from that, the technique was calling upon God, of course, and then at a certain point, God responded. People tended to think that if you want to find the real, if you want to find the truth, if you want to find God, if you want to find the divine meaning of all things, you have to move out of the world. So that is the first number one point, is that in the olden days, moving out of the world literally just meant that. You broke away from your family, from your job, from your responsibilities, from society altogether, and you moved out maybe by yourself or with a group of people, maybe a renunciate, monks, or whatever you like to call them, sannyasis in any language, the hesychast, and in the Christian traditions. And then later on, you have the monasteries, the Christian monasteries, you had Hindu monasteries, all kinds of monasteries serving the same purpose, to run away from the world, to move away from the world and disengage yourself from the worldly society or all the forces and influence and conditions of worldly life. So that was the basic idea. Now in our system, in the Gayatri system, that stage, we tell you now the Gayatri meditation system. Okay. The board is up here, okay? In our system, it's called pratyahara. Okay, the classical tradition was, of course, as the ancients called it, flee from the world. Okay, this is how the ancients would define it. We call it pratyahara, withdrawing your attention from the world. As I said, that literally all the religious people of all the world, they obey the rule, flee from the world, which meaning giving up family, giving up jobs, giving up society in every possible aspect, and just go by yourself into the desert or join in together with a few people in a monastery situation, or an ashram, or a monastery, or a temple, or a sanctuary, or whatever. So you cut yourself away from the world and all that means. In our system, you still flee the world, but you're still remaining in the world. So what you do, you can do the drastic step of really withdraw your whole attention, your whole life from the world and sit in a cell by yourself or in a monastery with a few others and completely disengage yourself from physical life at all, from physical society of any kind. Or you can do the same thing in our way, where you withdraw from the world at a certain appointed time, when you decide. So the first stage of our meditation Gayatri system process is pratyahara. You withdraw your attention from the world. Now, technically, what that means is that you choose a time, first thing in the morning, or in the middle of the night, or in the middle of the day, any time. With this system is so beautiful, it is not conditioned by time and space. You make your own condition. You may decide that 6 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night or midday or midnight, you withdraw your attention from the world, like all the ancients did. This is the first part requirement for meditation. Unless you withdraw from the world, you cannot do. Withdrawing from the world in our situation in the 21st century in the Western world, it means that you unplug the phone, you turn off the television, you switch off all the modern gadgets, which you're continually doing it with your finger or your ear or something like that. You switch them all off. Shut the door, lock the kids in the other room, forget about the dinner. Withdraw from the world, you mean just create a vacuum where you literally are able to be yourself so that you can actually practice the path. Because unless you do that, it won't succeed anyhow. This requirement is the requirement of your soul. It's not because Buddha says so, the Christ says so. I didn't say that at all. It's a later invention. The withdrawing from the world is a necessity of your soul so that you can collect yourself towards the soul. So you have to cut off all the distractions. But it doesn't mean that you cut off the world forever, 24 hours a day. It just means that in our time zone, in this part of the evolution of phase, in this part of the planet, the Western world, yes, we create a time when we withdraw from the world. And then you do your practice, your meditation practice. And of course, it's different for everybody. I mean, this is what Swadharma means, that you work at your own salvation. So every one of you knows what time within a 24-hour period you have the chance to withdraw from the world. But then you have to arrange that you really withdraw from the world. Because you can't sit there and repeat the Gayatri and listening for the phone call because Auntie Norma is going to ring you in half an hour's time. Or because the kids are coming home from school and they're going to slam the door. Or, like you have to work at your whole life scene. Okay, when is it possible for me within a 24-hour period of time to actually really retire and able to really do the spiritual work? And then when you've done that, you go back to the normal worldly conditions or whatever things you have to do. This is the way of the 21st century spirituality. It's the way of the Gayatri system. But remember that it has to be that withdrawal has to be as much perfect, as much as possibly can be. Because if it isn't, if you're sitting there meditating and you know that your boss is going to ring you in 5 minutes' time, well, it's a waste of time. Unless you really can withdraw from the world, don't do it because it's just a waste of time. So you have to create maybe 5 minutes. Maybe in a 24-hour cycle, you have 5 minutes where you can be by yourself, lock the door, lock everything out, and be by yourself in your own soul reality. Maybe later you can expand it to 10 minutes. Maybe you can ask your family to go for a holiday for 6 months. And then you can be for 6 months. Anyhow, as I said, it's very individual. You have to work out your own possibility in your own way. And you work out, okay, 8 o'clock tonight, nobody's coming, everybody's fine. The kids are at school or at bed or whatever, sleeping. Now I have my own time. Okay.